It's a process of uncovering the emotions or the limiting beliefs, releasing it, and then kind of building that self-trust in the person that you're working with. So then they can explore and make decisions about how they want to move through life going forward.
Yes, yes, more aligned. I like to think of it as more aligned decisions with
Okay.
their values and their goals. And self-trust is, you know, it was a hu that's been a huge revelation for me. It's like I always knew that I didn't fully trust myself, but I didn't know how much it was impacting my life until I started in the life coaching and the hypnosis work. And it's like
Mhm.
if you're not fully trusting yourself, then that's going to stop you from reaching, great levels of success in any area of your life, whether it's personal relationships, whether it's career, um, family, whatever it might be, health, even. So, trusting ourselves is one of those things that I wish we talked about more in society. And I think it's like as important as self love. Self love is also really important, but self trust is right up there too. And who would I be? How would I feel? How would I behave if I fully trusted myself in
Mm.
in the area that's most challenging for me? You know, and people don't even realize that they're not trusting themselves a lot of times. And so through these questions that we ask in hypnosis when we're talking to their subconscious mind, a lot of times it becomes clear that they may be feeling anxious, they may be feeling scared, they may be feeling stuck because they're afraid to fully trust themselves. And somewhere along the line, they learned that they shouldn't or couldn't trust themselves or that it could have negative consequences.
Today's conversation is a powerful one. I'm joined by Brenda Gazzar, a certified hypnotist and life coach who helps women release limiting beliefs, rebuild self trust, and create habits that actually support the life that they want to live. She's also the host of Code Wack, a weekly podcast that takes a hard look at America's healthcare system while uplifting the voices working towards justice and social change. Brenda, we're glad you're here. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Margaret. It's so good to be here.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. So, I was a longtime journalist and I did that for more than 2 decades. Got burned out in journalism, so I left that field. And this job of being a podcast host for Code Wack kind of fell into my lap. And I still do that today. And in the middle of COVID, I got trained to be a life coach and became a life coach. And a few years after that, I added hypnotherapy or hypnosis to my repertoire of skills. And it's funny, I was just thinking about this the other day. Everything I've done in my professional career has been related to stories and storytelling. So as a
Mhm.
journalist, I covered the news, covered what was happening, and also told people stories. As a podcast host, we uplift voices and we tell stories of people who have suffered from our whack healthcare system, our messed up healthcare system, and we try and affect change. And as a life coach and a certified hypnotist, I now look at the stories we tell ourselves and about the world around us. So it's really interesting that I've had this through line of storytelling and stories throughout my whole career. And I believe that stories are so powerful, and so the story, especially the stories we tell ourselves about who we are, about what we're capable of, about what our future could look like. I've always gravitated towards powerful storytelling, and I think we can really leverage that in our own personal lives to be the people that we want to be.
Yeah, absolutely. So, how did you get started in hypnosis and coaching?
Yeah. So, coaching, I actually did a program called Little Volcano out of San Diego. It was an online program in the middle of COVID. Um, as my own personal growth kind of program, I was ready for to step more into my power, and so I did this program. But it was also a program to become a coach. And at the time when I started, I didn't think I wanted to be a coach. I just wanted to grow as a person for myself. But
Hmm.
the more that I was engaged in the actual coaching and receiving powerful coaching, I decided this is such an amazing tool to help people. It helped me to receive powerful coaching, and I realized that I wanted to do it for others, and I had so much fun doing it as well. That's how the life coaching got started, and the hypnosis got started. A little bit during that was just a little over a year ago that I became a certified hypnotist, but I
Hmm.
was actually hypnotized the first time in 2019 when I signed up for a mud run with some friends, and it's just like a 5K thing where there's some physical challenges and you're helping each other out. It's a very team sport. It sounded like fun and totally doable, even though I wasn't athletic at the time. And that got canceled for some reason, and they said we can transfer your ticket to a Spartan race. And so all my friends said, "Yes, let's do it. It'll be great." So I we transferred it, and I didn't know how much more difficult this particular Spartan race was going to be. And once I started watching videos on YouTube about what actually I'd signed up for, I panicked. I was so terrified because I realized I was going to be climbing over these huge obstacles, lifting heavy tires, monkey bars, things I had never done in my life, even as a child. And a friend of mine who's a hypnotherapist, Michael Javahari, said, "Let me give you some hypnosis sessions." And he did. And little by little, he helped me to see myself differently. He helped me to see myself as somebody who's capable, physically strong, whereas I'd always seen myself as physically weak and incapable of doing hard physical things. And so I got a trainer as well, who also helped me reinforce that belief and to rewire my brain, because action also rewires our brain. And
Hmm.
with the hypnosis and the training, I was able to complete the race. And it was such a transformative experience for me, not only because I learned the power of hypnosis, but also because I realized that I can shift my self concept, I can shift my identity, and hypnosis can help me and other people do that.
Excellent.
Yeah. And then more recently, I had a very kind of strong physical painful experience in the Pacific Ocean where I was stung by a stingray. And it was definitely the most excruciating physical experience I'd ever experienced. And the day after, I saw an email in my inbox from the man who became my mentor, Dominique Bertoncini. And there was a masterclass he was doing this day after I got stung. And
Hmm.
so I decided to see what this was all about. And I didn't mention, but when I was in the ocean, it was during a Jewish New Year ceremony. Uh, And I had told myself before I went in the water, in the ocean, that this was my opportunity to really step into my full power, to release procrastination, to release fear, to be everything that I knew I could be. And that was kind of like my prayer, to God
Hmm.
before I stepped into the ocean. And then it was like these strange series of events that led me to Dominique, that led me to hypnosis. I was the first person in that masterclass to sign up for a program, so I got a free one-on-one session with him. And then I was just within a week I knew that I had to sign up for the certification program and get certified. And it was one of the best decisions I've made in my life because not only has it helped me to grow as a person in my life, but it's a wonderful tool to help my clients shift into a new self-concept, to see the world differently, and to be more of their true authentic selves.
Is that one of the reasons why people seek out a hypnotist?
Yeah. So, there's many reasons. Sometimes it's for weight loss. Sometimes it's because they
Mhm.
want to quit smoking. Sometimes they just feel stuck in life and they don't know why. They feel like something is holding them back. Maybe they've reached a plateau in their career. Maybe they have even unhappy relationships. They feel either trapped or stuck or like they're not reaching their full potential and they don't know why. And a lot of times it's because there is a subconscious belief there that's holding them back. It can be, I'm not worthy of love, or I'm not worthy of money. I'm wealth. I don't matter. My needs don't matter, or other people's needs matter than more than my own needs, right? It
Mhm.
could be, I'm unlovable. So or it could be something's wrong with me. It could be nobody loves me. It could be I'm too different. So whatever that belief is, oftentimes that's holding you back. I'm not smart enough is a big one also. I don't have what it takes. I don't have what it
Mm.
takes to succeed. So whatever that belief is, a lot of times we're not even fully conscious of it. Maybe we're trying so hard in our career. Maybe we're trying so hard to meet the love of our life. whatever it is, it's not something's not working. And maybe we attract the same kinds of situations over and over in our life. And that's the beauty of hypnosis. It helps you see the patterns in your life, the
Hmm.
the things that you keep attracting, and we ask the question, what is really going on here? What are we believing about this situation? What are we feeling? What are we holding on to? What emotions, unprocessed emotions, are we holding on to that are keeping us stuck? And I'll give you an example. So, you know, growing up, I felt wronged by a certain relative, and I had forgiven that person intellectually.
Hmm.
But there was a part of me that hadn't really acknowledged the hurt, that hadn't really allowed myself to feel the hurt and release it. And so through hypnosis, I was able to just cry and bawl my eyes out and really connect to that feeling of hurt. So I was
Hmm.
able to move on in my life. So a lot of times we think intellectually, oh yeah, we can forgive somebody, but unless you really release the feelings related to that, it's really hard to move on.
Got it. What other shifts do you see people start to create in their life?
Yeah, so the process we both learned with Dom was we start out with a breakthrough process,
Hmm.
um, because you are a hypnotherapist as well, and the breakthrough process is really kind of like an assessment. It's basically helps us identify what limiting beliefs somebody has, what emotions and process negative emotions such as anger, hurt, sadness, fear, guilt, shame are coming up again and again in somebody's life. So essentially, we're identifying the patterns and we're identifying the limiting beliefs that are under the surface that keep coming up, that keep playing a role in people's life. And I have to
Hmm.
say, the breakthrough is so enlightening for people because they're like, oh my God, I can't believe that I have attracted this into my life again and again and again. They start seeing the patterns. They start
Hmm.
seeing what they're believing about themselves and how that has impacted their life. It's
Hmm.
so eye-opening. Or the emotions of maybe feeling all alone or feeling betrayed or, whatever that is, feeling angry. They keep seeing these emotions coming up again and again and again. And it's like, wow, you kind of see your own role. How did I contribute to this situation? And not in a
Hmm.
blame way, but in a, oh, I get it kind of way. This is how I contributed to this. This is how I'm contributing to this pattern in my life. And it's just a huge um revelation for people to do this process. And then when I share back with them, so it is a collaborative process where I'm, you know, asking them questions, putting them in a light trance
Hmm.
state, which is simply hypnosis is simply a relaxed and focused state where your mind is more open to communicating on a subconscious level. And in some cases, receiving, being open to suggestion. But the breakthrough is not about suggestion. It's simply like a fact finding mission. We're here to find out what are the person's limiting beliefs, what are their negative emotions that are holding them back. That's the first session. And then the second session is releasing those limiting beliefs and releasing those negative emotions that are holding them back. And we get to the root cause of where did that originate? Did it originate from when they were maybe 2 or 3 years old with a certain event? Maybe it was passed down genetically. So we put them in another trance state and we get to the root cause. And then we help them examine that root cause from their current persona. What did they know now that they couldn't have known back then that will help them to reframe that event and help them let it go?
So you place a lot of importance on and having someone allow that feeling instead of like bypassing it. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Like what's actually why is that such an important part of the change?
Yes, and I can only speak from my own experience having been on the receiving end of that. But a lot of times people don't even realize they're feeling angry or sad or hurt about something. We know something's not right. We know that we're uncomfortable. We know that something's off, but we're not naming that emotion, at least in my experience. And so
Mhm.
I think it's really helpful to say, yeah, I'm angry about something that happened to me when I was younger, or I'm angry about something that's
Mm.
currently happening in my life today. And even just allowing ourselves to name it is so powerful. And then once we name it, know what we're dealing with, we can actually relax into it and allow ourselves to feel it. And that is so healing. And a lot of times we're scared of feeling these emotions because they can be painful, but
Mhm.
not feeling them causes so many more problems down the road. But allowing ourselves, because they're going to keep popping up in one way or another, keep manifesting in one way or another. But if we can just allow ourselves to be present and sit with that feeling of anger, hurt, sadness, fear,
Mm.
shame, there's something magical that happens when we just allow ourselves to feel. First of all, we're human and we're meant to feel, right? We're not just thinking beings, we're also feeling beings. And so when we allow ourselves to feel, then we're accepting that part of ourself and we're not judging it. And that's huge in any healing process, is just to accept whatever comes up, to accept where we are and realize that we're not our feelings, but they are an important part
Mm.
of ourselves. We can't define ourselves as being, we're not our feelings, but they are an important part and they need to be felt. They need to be expressed for a reason. And then once we express them, we could find out, what is the message behind each feeling? What does it want us to know? Because I feel like all our feelings want us to know something. Maybe somebody's crossed a boundary. Maybe we've crossed our own boundary. Maybe we're telling ourselves that we need something else. We need something different than what we currently have. So, what is the gift in the feeling? And I do feel like hypnosis can definitely help us tap into the gift that the feeling has by naming it, by acknowledging it, by reframing the event that's the origin cause, the root cause of it,
Mhm.
and then asking ourselves, what is the gift here for us?
Excellent. Wow, that's a great explanation of the process or like what you take people through. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
What do you think one of the biggest misconceptions is about hypnosis?
There's so many, Margaret. I'm sure you've run across this yourself. I even really didn't know what hypnosis was. And I think we are so influenced by what we see on stage with stage hypnotists that we assume that it's always that way. I would say one of the main misconceptions is that you're giving away your control to another person. And I
Mm.
even believed that myself to a certain extent before I studied hypnosis. It's like, oh, okay, I have to give away my control to this person who has control over me. But that is not true at all. In hypnosis, it's a voluntary process where you are a willing participant and you are in full control of the process. So even though the hypnotist may ask you to close your eyes most of the time, you can open your eyes at any time, you can stop the process at any time, you're in full control. And you're also awake, even though it seems like people are asleep sometimes, they're not asleep, they're actually awake, but again, in this very relaxed and focused state.
Mhm.
And it allows us when we're in this relaxed, focused, and present state, the person that's being hypnotized, um, is more able to be present with their internal experience and what's happening internally, as opposed to being distracted by everything around them. And that's why hypnosis is so powerful, because you're actually very present with what the hypnotist is saying, and you're very present with your internal world. And we
Mm.
know that our internal world is where the most change can happen. We're connected with our subconscious processes, and that's where the most change happens. And I like to describe the um, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. So the conscious mind, if you can imagine like a pilot piloting a plane. He he's making the decisions. He is setting the course of where you're going. But then you have the subconscious mind, which is kind of like when the plane is on autopilot and it's just kind of going without thinking, without having to make any decisions. It's the programs that you put into the plane that are guiding it. And it's also helping to keep the plane steady, and it's also reacting to emergencies when needed.
Mm.
Right, just like our subconscious mind. Like if somebody's about to throw a ball at me, I'm gonna flinch and like immediately protect myself. That is my subconscious mind keeping me safe.
Right.
The interesting thing is your subconscious mind may keep you safe at all costs, and it doesn't always distinguish between a real threat and a perceived threat. And so a lot of times it tries to keep us safe when in actuality it's keeping us small, it's keeping us from growing.
Mm.
So that's where hypnotists can come in and say and help you discover, okay, is this a real threat? What's really going on here? And um, how can I feel more safe? I think it's absolutely true that we can only receive what we feel safe to receive. And that
Mhm.
goes back to the nervous system comment you made before this call about, yes, our nervous system is so important, and that we will only receive what we feel worthy of and what we feel safe to receive. And so hypnosis helps us realize those areas where we don't feel worthy, we don't feel good enough, and we don't feel safe for whatever reason to receive what we truly desire.
Got it. So it's a process of uncovering the emotions or the limiting beliefs, releasing it, and then kind of building that self-trust in the person that you're working with. So then they can explore and make decisions about how they want to move through life going forward.
Yes, yes, more aligned. I like to think of it as more aligned decisions with
Okay.
their values and their goals. And self-trust is, you know, it was a hu that's been a huge revelation for me. It's like I always knew that I didn't fully trust myself, but I didn't know how much it was impacting my life until I started in the life coaching and the hypnosis work. And it's like
Uh-huh.
if you're not fully trusting yourself, then that's going to stop you from reaching, great levels of success in any area of your life, whether it's personal relationships, whether it's career, um, family, whatever it might be, health, even. So, trusting ourselves is one of those things that I wish we talked about more in society. And I think it's like as important as self love. Self love is also really important, but self trust is right up there too. And who would I be? How would I feel? How would I behave if I fully trusted myself in
Mm.
in the area that's most challenging for me? You know, and people don't even realize that they're not trusting themselves a lot of times. And so through these questions that we ask in hypnosis when we're talking to their subconscious mind, a lot of times it becomes clear that they may be feeling anxious, they may be feeling scared, they may be feeling stuck because they're afraid to fully trust themselves. And somewhere along the line, they learned that they shouldn't or couldn't trust themselves or that it could have negative consequences. But what we know now, the more we trust ourselves, the more we take action, the more we learn. And even if that means quote unquote failing or being rejected, those are all growth experiences. Those are all learning experiences. And the faster we fail, the faster we're rejected. Rejected, I put in quotes because I don't think anybody can be rejected. We only reject ourselves. But the more we stay in action and move forward, the more we learn, the more we grow. And really self-trust is one of the things that if I can leave listeners with, you know, really ask yourself, where is it that I'm not fully trusting myself? And what is it I'm believing about myself that's not allowing me to trust myself? And is that really true even?
Got it. And I know you specialize working with women, and especially as young women come up through the ranks and face different challenges as far as in their roles at home or at work or kind of developing who they are. Can you speak a little bit about how it's important for, as far as women in general, to kind of like really, take note of that self trust and nurture that for themselves?
Yes. I think awareness is like the first step. Awareness of where is it that I do trust myself? Maybe start there. because we all have areas that we feel confident. We all have areas
Mhm.
that we feel um, maybe we've made good decisions and that has had positive consequences. So starting out with where do I feel like I can trust myself and how has that worked out for me? And
Mhm.
then start building awareness around the areas where you feel less self-trust. And it's interesting because I do think there's a difference between confidence and self-trust. Because
Mm.
confidence is I have faith that I can do something. I have faith um maybe even in who I am. Self-trust is maybe I don't have the confidence yet, but I can trust that I will figure it out. I can trust that I can get the answers even if I don't have them right now. I can trust that I will ask for the support I need if I feel like I need it. So confidence I think of is more related to what we do, but self-trust is in who you are and and what you're capable of, right? Our potential. And so if a young woman is coming up the ranks, or really for all of us, ask yourself, when was the first time I felt like I couldn't trust myself? Because
Mm.
usually there is something that happened when we were younger where we
Mhm.
decided we couldn't trust ourselves. And
Mm.
how can I look at that situation from a different perspective? How can I see that experience differently so that I can fully step into this self-trust? And and what would it look like to fully step into self-trust? Who would I
Mm.
be? What would I do? How would I start behaving differently? And
Mhm.
it doesn't mean when you trust yourself that we're exactly the person we want to be. No, it just means we're willing to take the steps forward to become that person.
Got it. That was a beautiful description of, like, how the difference as far as confidence and self-trust, and then how you nurture that through your life and figure out who you're gonna be, and I like that, who you become, because you become that different person.
Yes. And I would even ask Margaret every day, how can I trust myself a little more today? And at the end of the day, look at what did I do? How did I trust myself a little more that day and do a self evaluation? And
Uh-huh.
that has helped me. I actually had a coach that recommended that for me, and that was very helpful. Like, prove to yourself, yes, I can trust myself. How did I trust myself today? I trusted myself because I was on this podcast with Margaret and I spoke my truth and I shared my gifts. Like that was one way that I trusted myself today. And if I were to ask you, Margaret, what was one thing you did today that where you showed self-trust, what would you say?
Well, I know that I'm capable and I can figure out any tech issue. It might take me a while, but I can figure out any tech issue. So
Yes,
so then I can deliver what I know through the vehicles that we have now, which didn't exist when we were coming up as far as that. But I know I'm capable of figuring anything out.
beautiful. And just for a little context for our listeners, we actually spent an hour trying to figure out the tech issues before this call. So that's what she's speaking to. Way to go.
Well, and this maybe segues into, the audience that I work with are people that are preparing for retirement or are in retirement and sometimes feel the struggles of, like, maybe AI is going to take over, or I'm too old, or, like the best part of my life is over. From your perspective, can you talk about, like, the subconscious and the emotional patterns that you may see, and where coaching and subconscious work can kind of like support people through, especially a change such as big as, retirement, where your structure may be gone, your relationships may be changing as you leave work. Um, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So first of all, I it is never, I know this is cliche, but it is never too late to become the person you want to be. I truly believe that. Um and the person I think of a couple people who, started their passions later in life. One of them is my father who started dancing. He never danced before, had started dancing in his 70s, late
Uh-huh.
70s. and, is still dancing today, and he's 90. So, yeah, so, I mean, and that had nothing to do with his previous life at all, but he was curious, and it's become a hobby and a passion of his, and we know that dancing is great for the brain and great for the body, and, also I think of Grandma Moses, who, was a painter who I believe started painting seriously in her 70s also and became hugely famous. So,
Mhm.
w I would say retirement sounds like a very exciting time. Hopefully, you're doing the things that you love also, well, before retirement, but it's definitely an opportunity to create your life, to recreate your life in any way that you want. And, you know, society, unfortunately, especially in Western society, we don't treat retirement as the gift that it is, I think, and the opportunity that it is to really create your life as you want. And
Mhm.
so I think we definitely, if people who are nearing retirement are feeling afraid or feeling stuck, first of all, I think they should talk to you, Margaret, because I know that's your jam and you're very good at it. And they should also ask themselves, um, what do I want to create here? And
Mhm.
not what am I capable of? That's the wrong question. It's not what you're capable of. It's not what you're able to create. It's what do I want to create, and really focus on that first. Because once you get really excited about your vision, that's going to pull you forward. And we kind of
Mhm.
forget that our limiting beliefs when we get so excited about something. But definitely they can also examine, if they do feel stuck, they can also examine, what is holding me back? What is the fear?
Mhm.
Usually it's a fear or a limiting belief. And I love Brene Brown's work. Um, she has something called the work where she asks a series of questions.
Mhm.
And the questions are, is this belief really true? So let's say somebody believes I'm too old to meet the love of my life, for example,
Mhm.
which is a common belief I think that people have, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm too, okay. So it she would the 4 question or the 5 questions are, the first question is that belief really true? The second one is, can I know with 100% certainty that that belief is really true? Can anybody know anything with 100% certainty?
Right, right.
And then
There's
the
other
third
people that have been in those shoes before and found love.
exactly,
Right.
exactly. And
Mhm.
then the third question is, who am I when I believe that? How do I
Mhm.
feel? How do I act?
Uh-huh.
And then who would I be without that belief if I didn't believe that I was too old to meet the love of my life?
Got
And
it.
then the final question is, what do I knowing all of that, what do I wanna choose to believe instead?
Mm.
So that is kind of
Yep.
another way to get to a limiting belief, and hypnosis, guides you through a process that has kind of, it's a little bit different, but, similar, and really deals with your works with your subconscious mind to get those answers.
Got it. So it's that discovery and that time to imagine yourself without those limiting beliefs and then make some decisions about what you wanna do next.
Yes, and who do you wanna be
Mhm.
now, starting now? Because yes, what do I want to do and who do I want to be? What do I want to embody? What characteristics do I need to embody to make this happen?
Got it.
Do I need
Because I was gonna say it's because it's more feeling than it is achievement based, which is a lot of times how we were judged when in our work life.
yes, yes, and it's embodying a new identity. Like,
Mm.
who do I have
Mhm.
to be able to achieve my dreams, right? Maybe I need to be more consistent. Maybe I need to be um more open. Maybe I need to be maybe I need to say, let's see, be more boundaried.
Mhm.
And that helps us to be who we need to be in order to achieve. And I think you're right. Society talks a lot about achievement, but in reality, what I think is most exciting and important is who we become in the process of achieving what we want to achieve.
Absolutely. Well, you blew my next question about like what can people ask themselves, but you provided a great set of questions about the exploration part of it. So, if people are stuck or hesitant or afraid to move forward, just kind of systematically going through your own way of like, how do I, how do I uncover what's really behind this?
Yes, yes.
So,
And where do I feel what hasn't been healed within me?
mhm.
What still needs to be healed within me is also important. And if it's sadness or shame or guilt, like knowing that those feelings are all natural parts of being human, and we just need to shed a little light on those feelings and allow them to be felt and allow them to be processed, um, in
Yeah.
a healthy way. And having professional support is definitely important. So I just want to say I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a medical professional, but hypnosis can help in processing emotions and limiting beliefs and releasing them.
And leveling up, because part of it is that if you want to get to that next level, you maybe need a little help as far as kind of releasing some things and then getting to that and then being able to discover and kind of see what's there for me. And I think you nailed it a couple minutes ago, is who I get to be and who I evolve into as I'm going through the journey of this.
Yes.
So,
And I thought of something else. The way we talk to ourselves is so
mhm,
key because we don't
mhm,
even realize how harsh we are with ourselves, how especially women, I have to say, how, I think, lacking compassion we can be with our own selves. And so it's super important as we're evolving into the humans that we would like to be really kind, compassionate, and loving towards ourselves. And that
mhm,
actually is the most effective way to change. The more we beat ourselves up, the more we kind of focus on what we're doing wrong or not well, is a surefire way to keep us stuck. And the more we start becoming our best cheerleaders, our best motivators, our best friends, the more we can do that for ourselves, the faster we're going to go.
excellent. Well, that's a great place to start wrapping up. One last question for you is, what lights you up most about the work, and why do you really believe like change is possible no matter at what stage of life you're in?
hmm Honestly, like seeing people uh, have those aha moments as a hypnotist when they realize kind of their own role in contributing to the life that they've created. It can be both like, "Oh, man, I can't believe I did this," but it's also empowering because you're like, "Oh, man, if I did this, I can also do something different. I can also be different." And so once people what lights me up is people realizing how much power they really do have in their own lives. And we can't
Mhm,
control a lot of our external circumstances, but we can control our internal world. We can control our energy. We can control how
mhm.
we think about what's happening, and that is so powerful. And what was the second part of the question, Margaret?
It's just no matter what stage of life they're in.
Yeah, yeah. Um, it is I think of life as being a huge, huge gift, and if we can even get to, let's say, retirement or get to be older. I know not all of my friends have made it to my age. I'm 51. Not all of my loved ones have made it to this age that I'm at now. And
Mhm,
so every year we have is an opportunity to not only celebrate and enjoy life and celebrate how far we've come, but to also get excited about where we can go. And so no matter what challenges you're facing right now, whether, it's health challenges or work challenges or relationship challenges, know that you are here for a reason. Know that you are still growing into the person that you were meant to be and that your best days are ahead of you.
excellent. And on that note, thank you. If someone wants to follow your work or get in touch with you today, what's the easiest way to find you?
Yes, so you can find me on Instagram at Brenda underscore the underscore hypnotist. You can also look at my website at brendagazzar.com, and that's two Z's. And of course, you can contact me through my website. Would love to connect with you for any questions about hypnosis or coaching, or just want to say hi. I would love to connect.
Well, thank you for a great conversation and just the journey that you took us through gave us a really great opportunity to kind of take a peek under the hood as far as hypnosis and what it can do and how it can help you change your life.
Thank
So
you so
thank
much,
you.
Margaret.
Thank you.